Mayweather vs. Logan Paul was a success of an exhibition match, as it was able to clear more than 1 million pay-per-view sales, so you might assume that Logan Paul must have gotten his cut. But it seems that although Team Paul got the hat, they didn't seem to get the bag, and Logan Paul's pretty pissed about it. Keep watching the video for more. Let's get started. First, Logan Paul claims Floyd owes him money. Floyd Mayweather was interviewed, and he had some surprising things to say when it came down to the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather match back when the match didn't happen. He stated that the match was a legalized bank robbery at that point because it was going to be an easy win for Mayweather, and it seems to us that Logan Paul might have been one of his victims. In one of his Instagram stories, Logan Paul expressed his anger and resentment towards Floyd Mayweather, where he asked him to pay his side of the money in an insulting way. We're not really sure if he got the money or not, but his anger states otherwise. Although Logan Paul has stated that Floyd Mayweather owes him money 6 months after the fight, it's still not clear what exactly Floyd Mayweather owes him money for. The exhibition match between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul was once one of the most anticipated boxing exhibition matches in history, but it's been a long while since the match has concluded, but the drama still isn't over. Logan posted an Instagram story with Mayweather outside in the cold with only a Fendi jacket on, but in his underwear, or what appears to be a Speedo, and he posted the text that stated to owe him his money and followed it up with an insult. Mayweather made claims like the fight between him and Paul wasn't a worthy or real fight, and that it was basically a bank robbery at that point because he didn't consider it a worthy or a real fight. Floyd Mayweather has yet to respond to the claims and allegations made by Logan Paul, and the dispute is yet to be settled publicly. For now, let's hope Logan Paul is joking, because we don't think a big-time celebrity like Floyd Mayweather would stoop so low as to hold out on paying someone their money, since he is also incredibly rich. In other news, Logan Paul stated that his future in regards to boxing remains a bit too unsure, and he's been dealing with health complications recently, so he might be looking toward retiring from boxing and sticking to YouTube like he normally did. Whether he steps into a ring once again or not, time will tell. Next, Logan backs out of rematch, wants Jake to fight instead. Logan is also ruling out the possibility of boxing rematch between him and Floyd Mayweather because Floyd Mayweather didn't pay him for his first bout anyway, but he wants money, and in return, Floyd is supposed to fight his younger brother Jake Paul. When we look over at Jake Paul's career, he's doing pretty well when it comes to his boxing career, as he's won boxing matches consistently. Reviewing the footage of his rematch with Tyron Woodley, we can see that he knocked him out clean with an overhand left hook to the face, and Tyron dropped to the canvas like a dead body. Jake has got lots of potential, but we won't be sure if he'd pose a threat to the legendary boxer Floyd Mayweather, considering he's never been knocked out or defeated ever in his life. Logan Paul has been quite petty when it comes to Floyd not paying up his money, and has even went as far as to talk to an NFL star, Antonio Brown, to put in a word for him when he gets to talk to Floyd Mayweather, and as always, Floyd Mayweather has been pretty silent about the whole commotion between him and Logan Paul, so we don't really know what he owes him money for. It's been around 7 months now since the match between him and Mayweather, and Paul called him a dirty little rat for not paying up for the fight. Logan also revealed that he was offered a rematch against Mayweather in Dubai, which is something he turned down in an instant. Logan Paul was asked if he would be willing to fight Floyd Mayweather during his stay at the Jumeirah Hotel in Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and he thinks he pretty much wimped out because he had a rough time in the first match, and he tried to hold on to his dear life when it came to the bout. He stated that he doesn't want the match because he still has issues with Floyd in regards to the money he still owes him, and he won't be willing to go for a match not until he's paid his money. Logan Paul is looking at giving the rematch clause over to his younger brother, and things could become heated and beneficial for both boxers, as both of them also have beef because Jake stole his hat in a press conference and ran off with it while Floyd Mayweather got pretty heated and tried to take him out for it. Jake currently isn't looking for a fight and is on vacation until the summer of 2022 because he's been a lot of bouts and needs time to rest up. And as for Logan, he's looking at boxing against Brazilian comedian and singer Whindersson. This will mark Logan Paul's 4th ever boxing match, as Whindersson accepted his offer with a sunglasses emoji and the words, "Let's do it." We still aren't sure whether the fight will happen or not, but this isn't the first time that one of Paul's brothers has been approached for a fight as much recently. recently. Logan Paul was also approached by AWE wrestler Britt Baker, which he still is waiting on responding to. Now, Liam Williams is in trouble for his words. In other news, Liam Williams is in hot water with the BBB of C and is facing punishments for saying that he wants to kill Chris Eubank Jr. Williams has 23 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie with 18 KOs, while Eubank Jr. has 31 wins with 3 losses and 23 KOs. Williams has been getting pretty worked over by the 33-year-old Eubank, and it's been about 2 weeks ahead of their 12-round main event fight, which is going to take place at the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff, Wales. We're still unsure what happened behind the scenes between the two boxers that led to the former IBO champion was in the crosshairs of the 29-year-old Williams, who made the nasty remark of wanting to kill the 33-year-old Eubank, but it could be that he just wants to drive him out of the sport and win the match with a glorious victory. But Eubank Jr. feels that Williams is setting a bad example in the boxing community with his harsh words by going as far as to say that he's willing to kill a man in the boxing matches, considering how many fatalities and serious chronic conditions have occurred over the years because of fatal accidents and injuries in boxing matches. Williams' kill comment basically reinforces what Eubank Jr. is trying to say. Liam Williams stated that Eubank Jr. basically makes his skin crawl every time he looks at him, and he deeply dislikes the guy, and he really wants to kill him in an interview with the Telegraph. You could sense that Liam wanted to tear him apart and could see the dislike in his eyes and right across his face. Liam seemed pretty animated, and it was a good thing that he didn't start throwing punches right on the spot, as you'd hate to see the fight being canceled due to an injury. The winner of the Eubank Jr. and Williams fight will be in a great position to challenge for the WB middleweight title, but it also depends on what happens between the WBA champion Ryota Murata and IBF champion Gennady Golovkin. If GGG ends up winning that fight, he will likely vacate the WBA strap if he's ordered to fight the Eubank Jr. versus Williams winner, because it's not a big enough match to become interesting to many of the American boxing fans. With that said, Golovkin is about to turn around 40 in April, and he's not going to waste his remaining time in a fight facing off against the likes of Eubank Jr. or Williams. He has little time left in his career, and he's going to focus on Canelo Alvarez or Giam. Robert Smith of BBB of C stated that he will be calling Williams in and reprimanding him for his harsh words. Those are not the words we or anyone in the boxing world wants to hear due to the injuries that do happen within the boxing ring and all the tragic stories that have occurred over the years due to fatal boxing accidents. Even if he meant it as a figure of speech or metaphorically, it's still pretty unacceptable for a licensed boxer to say such a harsh thing. Boxers are more aware of the dangers of the sport than anyone else, and they'll be speaking to him about his words after the contest, as it's simply not something appropriate to say. And that's all for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on for the future videos. And with that said, we bid you farewell. So goodbye and have a great time.